Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen huwa alladhi ja'ala al-muslimin wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah al-Kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And alhamdulillah, we say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen hu alladhi ja'alna muslimin. The one who made us Muslim, and we say thank you to Him for this. All praise to Allah who made us Muslim. Many times people ask, how did you get somebody to come to Islam? Many people ask me this because they see the videos, they see so many people enter Islam, and it's true, a lot of people enter Islam. Alhamdulillah. But what is it that makes it so somebody can come to Islam? And what can you do to help somebody? We all like to know that, right? What do you want to know? So in our program tonight, we're going to talk about the journey to Islam. First of all, before we start, remember that Allah says in Quran that you do not guide the one you love. Allah guides whoever He wills. This is up to Allah. But we still have to try. We have a job to do. But what is our job? And in our story tonight, maybe we'll be able to see a clear picture on what we need to do. And I'll use my own example, maybe to give us a little bit of a better idea. How's that sound? Work? So, it happened one day. My father came to me and he said, we're going to do business, going to be doing business, international business, with a man from Egypt. I said, oh, sounds good. Egypt, pyramids, Nile River, Cleopatra. Then he said he's a Muslim. I said, what? A Muslim? Whoa! No way. Muslim? You know these guys? They're terrorists. Hijackers. Kidnappers. These people don't even believe in God. They pray to a black box in the desert. And they kiss the ground 5 times a day. I don't want any part of that. He said, no, you have to. You have to meet this guy. You'll like him. He said, no, I won't. He said, you're going to meet him. I said, okay. Our meeting has to be on my terms, my conditions, my terms. He said, what's your terms? What do you want? I said, I want to meet him on Sunday. I've come from the church and I'll have my Bible and my cross and my cap that said, Jesus is the Lord. That's how I'm going to meet this guy. Because in my mind, I know what Muslims look like. Yes. You know, they have big beards and some big thing on the head like this, long dread, well, yes. And one eyebrow all the way across. I know what they look like. Plus, probably he has a sword. This is the cartoons, this is the pictures that we were seeing back in those days. And I remember after I came out of the church, came over to my father's shop, and I walked in and I looked around, I said, well, where is he? He said, right here. And this is a normal guy with regular clothes. You're still Muslim? Yeah. He didn't even have a beard. In fact, he didn't have any hair, he was bald-headed. Look, this is a Muslim. So when I met him, the first thing that I said to him was, you guys, you don't believe in God, do you? He said, of course we do. I said, no, but I mean the real God. You know, the one who made the universe. He said, of course. Yeah, but like Adam and Eve. I said, yes. We all came from Adam and Eve. Like, really? Yeah, but you don't believe in Abraham. You know, the prophet Abraham. Did you ever hear of him? Now, what's funny, later, after I became Muslim, I found out that he's descended from the grandsons of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this means that Ibrahim alayhi salam, is his great-great-great-great-grandfather. So imagine asking somebody, do you know who your grandfather is? But I pushed forward, I said, what about Moses? You know about Moses? He said, we call him Moses? Yes, of course. So, do you know about the Old Testament? He said, we have to believe in the Old Testament or we can't be a Muslim. I said, oh, really? But you don't know anything about the New Testament. He said, oh, we have to believe in all the books of Allah. The original book, the way it came, we have to believe. You mean you know about Jesus? Then, of course, miracle birth, miracles he did, even bring a dead man back to life, and he's with Allah now, he'll come back in the last day. You believe that? He said, all Muslims believe that. I can convert this guy easy. I'm going to see what I can do, make him a Muslim, get all those old Muslims into Christianity. I figured it out. First day. My father told me though, he said, leave him alone, he has his religion, we have our religion. You know, like and we started working together. In the course of our business working together, I found out that this man will stop in the middle of the day and he'll pray. And at night, he will pray. In the morning, he's going to pray. And the first day I said, wow, look at this guy's extreme, man. Christians don't do that. Maybe once a week on Sunday, they'll show up, maybe they'll pray, maybe not. Next day, same thing again, up early in the morning. Now, the funny thing about it was, before he's going to do all of this, praying, he's going to go into the bathroom and throw water all over the place. You know? This is all right, I guess. But then you see this man, he's going to come out and face that same direction. And he just stands there. Especially like Dover, Osser, you just see him stand there so quiet. And then bow, prostrate, head on the ground. I remember one time, after a few weeks working together, I asked him, do you guys ever get a day off?
I mean, we do this every day, don't you get to take one day? He said, he started laughing. He said, we don't want to. We want to do this. Okay. There was something else about this man too that was a little bit different for me, because we were in business traveling around different markets. And I found out this man was so honest. I mean, of course, as a good Christian, you're honest. Mostly. Mostly. I mean, you know, don't be extreme. And I remember one time a lady bought something from us, and she had some change, maybe 20 cents, 30 cents, I don't remember, but some change. And she left it, and she went back out to her car. He grabbed this money up and he running. It was a real hot day outside too. And he's running out there, he tried to find her where she is and make sure she gets her money. And when he came back, his face was all red, he's sweating. So what did you just do? He said, the lady, she left her change. I said, so what? I mean, if I left it, I wouldn't even walk back for it, 20 cents in those days. So he said, in Islam, even 1 penny doesn't belong to us. We can't keep it. Really? I mean, okay, right. I mean, you know, whatever. I watched this continue in everything that he did. The other thing that amazed me, like whenever, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but you have 3 people together, and one person leaves, so the other 2 talk about it. It's normal. You know, like a guy will say, did you see that guy? He's putting on weight, man. He's really good. I mean, yeah. Or if it's ladies, did you see those shoes? Those are the same ones she had yesterday. Right? It's normal. At least for us, it was like normal. But he said, no, can't talk about it. So he's not talking about that. It's like, you know, guy said, no, can't do that. This puzzled me, man. It's in the Bible, but still, I mean, you know, to be honest, to be truthful, but when people follow it, it looks strange in our society. I know, by the way, a lot of our young people today, they will say, everybody does it. Last night we had some folks that we were talking to, and they asked a question about, well, you know, want to have fun. Want to have fun, you know what I mean? How do you figure it into being a Muslim and still have fun? Define what you mean by fun. Is it fun to make fun of people? Is that the kind of fun you're talking about? It's fun to take things that don't belong to you. It's fun to take people's rights away from them. This is not right. So the things that we hear preachers talk about, it's nice, but you're surprised when you see somebody live, praying every day, fasting on Mondays and Thursdays, fasting. You're not eating, you're not drinking, why? He told us about Ramadan. I said, is it Ramadan? No. So why are you fasting? He said, I want to. Why? We have food, eat it. So these are the kind of things that most people don't know about Muslims. They don't know that. But as you live Islam, you give a good example. And people see that. One other thing, and then I'm going to continue the story for you. I remember my father, Rahimahullah, He became Muslim, by the way. But my father used to come into the room. And when he would enter the room, now this is I lived in my father's house along with my big house. So when my father would come into the room, the Muslim, he would jump up from the chair and put the cushion over there for him, and my father would look at him like, "What are you doing?" He said, "You sit." He said, "You're sitting there. What did you get up for?" He said, "No, this is Islam. We have to do when some elder come in the room, especially if it's your house. We're going to give you the best." One time, and I remember this happened, he jumped up, my father came in, he jumped off and he was going to do that. And I went over and I said, "Hold on a second. Why are you doing this? It's my father." He said, "You're right, you do it." The other thing was about food, cooking the food. My friend, the Muslim, we became very good friends. He said, "I want to go in and cook something in the kitchen." My father said, "Nobody comes in my kitchen. I do all the cooking for everybody." And again, he's saying to my father, "But it's not right. We should be taking care of you, not you take care of us." Imagine, we never saw something like this before. Now, back to the story. There was a good friend of mine, another friend, who was the preacher. And when he traveled around, he had a truck with a big two big boards. And when he would get where he's going, he would put it together and make a big cross, a great big cross. And then he would carry this cross, like this, down the street. And then the people would come with the news cameras, the newspaper what's this, what's going on, and then he will give out some little Bibles and tell people about his church. So one day he had a heart attack. I think the cross was too heavy. Anyway, he went to the hospital, and while he's in the hospital, I want to go visit. He's my friend. I like to go visit him. And so I took my Muslim friend to meet him. And he took me aside and said, "Hey, don't ever bring those Muslim people to me." I said, "No, he's a nice guy, really." He said, "No, you don't know them." I said, "No," but he said, "No. And whatever you do, don't read their book." I said, "What book?" "Quran. Don't read the Quran." Okay. I'll remember that. One of my visits to the hospital, I found he had a roommate. Somebody's in the room with me. And the one that's in the room with him, he didn't talk. He had a heart attack as well. He didn't talk. He's in a wheelchair. So I said, "Would you like me to wheel you around in the chair?" Just look at me. Okay. So I would take him around the hallway and talk to him. And I have my Bible. So I'm going to preach to this guy in the wheelchair. Finally, I came to the story of Eunice in the Bible. You know Eunice, right? He's the one who went into the whale. And I'm telling him this story because this man is really sad. He has problems. And I know that maybe this will cheer him up. Look, Eunice had big problems, right? But I'll make a way for him. So finally, the man looked at me and said, "I know what you're trying to do. And I'm going to tell you something. You're a preacher, and I'm going to confess something to you." I said, No, we don't, I'm not Catholic. We don't do confession. he started laughing. He said, I know. He said, I'm not a priest. He said, I know. I am a priest. I said, what? This is a Catholic priest? Wow. Then I started telling him about the Muslim. I said, maybe you can help me convert this Muslim. When the man got out, the priest got out of the hospital, I asked him, come stay with us and get well in our house, and you can help me convert the Muslim. Good idea, right? Well, the priest started telling me, no, Islam has some good things. I said, it does? He said, yeah, we priests have to study Islam. Did you know that? You know that? Priests study Islam.
Yeah.
And other religions too. They know. 5 times daily salah, Saum Ramadan, Zakat, Hajj, Shahada. They know all of this. So he's telling me, no, it's not, you missed the point. They have the same teaching. It's a different idea about Jesus. That's it. Like, what? So, maybe I can use this way to get this guy to come to be a Christian. Now one day the priest asked my friend Muhammad from Egypt, he asked him, can I go to your mosque, to your church? He said, yes, come on. So I took him. And they came back. We took the priest aside. What did they do? Did they slaughter animals in there? Are they making bombs in there? I want to know. He said, no, listen to this. He said, it's a priest now. He said, they're like monks. They line up and they stand like this, real close to each other, and they don't talk. They're just looking down. Then they bow, all together at the same time. And then they put their head on the ground, like in the Bible, Old Testament, fall upon the face. He said, this to me is so peaceful. He said, I felt good watching it. What? The next time, the next week, he went to the masjid, the mosque, with my friend Mohammed. And when they came back late at night, I saw them get out of the car, and there's my friend Mohammed. I'm waiting for the priest. The door opened, somebody got out. He's wearing a long white robe and one of these on his head. Now look at this. Is that the priest? Look what he said. Shadow of the A priest became a Muslim? Now, after 3 months, I knew that this religion really is more clear about the teachings of Isa alayhi salam than the Bible is. Because the Bible has a lot of confused things in the translation. But in the Arabic, in the Quran, it doesn't change. It stays on the same subject all the way through. You can figure it out. And I'm thinking, you know what? This is looking pretty good. And about that time, my friend brought a translation of Quran and he put it on the table. He said, would you like to read it? I said, no. Remember? Don't read their book. Not it's okay, I'm busy right now, you know, maybe. But after he left the room, I said, you know what? Let me just take a look. Open it up. Translation. it says, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most beneficent. That's nice. All the praises to God, the most gracious, the most beneficent, the ruler on the day of judgment. You only do we worship, and you only do we turn for help. Guide us on the straight path, the path of those who have your favor, not the path of those who have your anger or who go astray, that are lost. I said, I like that. That makes sense. Really, it makes good sense. And I turned the page. Alif Lam Mim. Whoa, whoa. We get out of that real quick. But still, it makes sense. What are you going to do? How are you going to deal with that? And then here's the priest. Just came to Islam. And maybe I need to talk to my family about this. I want to see, you know, they say test the water. You know what I mean by that? You like put your finger in, is it too hot or is it too cold? So I'm going to tell my wife, you know, not directly. I said, by the way, what do you think about the priest that came to Islam? What do you think? She said, I want to get it. I said, what? She said, I want to get a divorce. Because a Muslim cannot be married to a Christian. I said, whoa. I didn't mean me. I'm asking you about the priest. Misunderstood. I will never be a Muslim. No way. Don't worry about that. Besides, remember what he said. A Christian woman could be married to a Muslim, but I wouldn't do that. Don't worry about it. It's just that a Christian man shouldn't be married to a Muslim lady. Doesn't work out. She said, that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. I want to be a Muslim, and I know you don't. Actually, there's some good news here. Actually, I do want to be a Muslim. He said, I don't believe you. I still want the divorce. I said, no, I'm telling you the truth. She said, no, you're a liar. I said, no, I'm telling you the truth. She said, you're a liar. You're lying right now. I said, no, I'm not. Okay, then you were lying 5 minutes ago and you said you wouldn't be one. Now get out. I'm halfway down the steps of my father's house. I just realized she kicked me out of my father's house. How does that work? So, middle of the night, and I go to my friend, and I woke him up. I woke up to Muhammad. I said, Muhammad, you and me, we got to talk. He said, what's the matter? In the middle of the night. I said, I know, I got problems. I got to talk to you. So, we walk outside, and we live in the country, big area, walking. And I'm telling him everything. Telling him about my wife, and then what about my father, who is also an ordained minister in the church, and myself, a music minister in the church. But what are the people going to say? But what about the deal with my wife? And then what about my mom? She's living in another city, but I got to, she's the first woman deaconess in the church that we were in, Disciples of Christ. I mean, it's not a small thing. And all night. Finally, my friend, he said to me, this is not about you and your church. It's not about you and your father.
It's not about you and your mind. The subject is not even about you and me. The subject that you have is between you and him. Go talk to him. Well, how? Just come in my mind. What should I do? Now, I'm still the Muslim every day, 3 months. I said, let me try that. Let me try that. I know he usually prays like this one way or this way. But let me find that way and just put my head on the ground. I can't remember all the stuff, but I remember the head on the ground. So I put my head on the ground. What am I going to say? Remember the book? Guide us. So this come in my mind. Guide me. Guide me. When I raised my head up, I realized something. The problems facing me really is not outside, it's inside. The real problem inside. If you fix this problem inside, the outside doesn't matter anymore. The relationship in the heart and the one who created the heart, if it's right, nothing can go wrong. Because it won't matter. Now this is kind of deep, and maybe a lot of people, not Muslim, they may take time for them to understand. But as Muslims, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If this is right, the whole of the matter is right. Now I'm going to just mention something from a hadith of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught us there is a morsel of flesh inside the human body that if it's good, then the whole of the matter is good. But if it's bad, then the whole of the matter is rotten. And that morsel of flesh is the power, the heart. And that's exactly what happened. The heart became right, and I knew right away, it's not an option. It's not an option. It's not a big decision. It's a matter of accepting a fact. It's not an option that you will say, oh, I'm on the earth. No, it's a reality that you wake up and say, I'm on the earth. Just like if it's daylight, you don't say it's nighttime. And if you're getting wet, you know it's raining. So it's not an option to say, I will be a Muslim. It's a matter of fact to wake up that that's what all of us were destined to be. This is our destiny, and all we have to do is accept it. Just accept it. Simple as that. So I went inside the house, and I said, it was time for Fajr now, okay? Imagine we stayed up all night. I said, I'm ready to accept Islam. So in front of my Muslim friend, and there used to be priest who's now Muslim, I made shahada. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Then my wife came down. She had a scarf on. She said, I want to be a Muslim too. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Allah. So then, later my father accepted Islam. My daughters grew up in Islam. That's 27 years ago. And I remember it like it's right now. Not yesterday, right now. I still feel like I want to cry. Still feel that relax, profound. You accept who you are. SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah. This shows us exactly what it takes
It's not about debating. Oh, Ahmadiyya, Rahimahullah, was the best. Zakir Naik, mashallah, unbelievable. But that's in public debate. But you and your friend, maybe you know somebody who's a Hindu, maybe you know somebody's a Christian, or maybe some Muslim that doesn't follow Islam. You debate them, they'll never speak to you again. You hurt their feelings, they're not coming back. But my friend Kareem is sitting right here in the front. He was telling me that he used to, when he was not Muslim, he used to be with the Muslims, and he take for granted so many wonderful things from Islam, from his friends that he grew up with. It wasn't like a strange, like it happened to me. It was strange. Those Muslims, oh my God, you know. At least he knew. So, if people can see us really act like Muslims, you know, somebody that cares, somebody's not going to cheat you, somebody's not going to hurt you, that's better than all the debate in the world. And then, when Allah's ready to guide them, just be there to help them. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised what can happen. But that's one journey to Islam. There is something that I probably should tell you. For all the people that I saw enter into Islam, they have one common thing between all of them. Every time I ask, yesterday we gave, I think, 6 shahadas? 6. I tried to get another one last night, but I'm still working on it. 6 people, and I asked them, when we were backstage, I asked one of them in particular, I said, you were asking God to guide you. She goes, how do you know that? How? I said, because there's no way you will be guided if you didn't want to be. Every single person that I've seen enter Islam, when we talk about it, I ask them the subject, they will say the same thing. I was asking God, help me, or guide me, or show me the way. And when you ask Him, He always gives you that answer. Now, I don't know if we have any Christians in the audience tonight, but I highly recommend for Christians to consider this. Muslims and Christians are the closest on the planet together. They are the closest. Because no other religion except Islam agrees with Christianity on the miracle birth of Jesus, the miracles that He performed, the fact that He was ascended up to Allah, and that He will be back in the last day. 100% agreement on those subjects. 100% agreement. In the Bible, New Testament, it says, seek and you will find. Ask and it will be given to you. Knock and it will be open. The first two are easy to understand because you ask from God, He will give you what you need. That makes sense. Muslims know that. Christians know that. And seek. And that's where we come up to guiding. Seek. And you'll find it. Look for it, you'll find it. But what about the knocking? Knocking. I never got that one until I came to Islam, and then I thought about it, and I said, wait a minute. What's the knocking? Knocking at a door. And you need the door to open. What's the first chapter of the Quran? Al-Fatiha? What does it mean in English? The opening. I highly recommend If you haven't done so already, open the Quran, read the first chapter, see what you get. Don't be afraid, it won't bite you. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Waladi Jan Muslimin. And this is the journey that all of us really need to make. Even if you're born into Islam, you have to make a decision sometime. I need to follow this. Not for the sake of my mom and dad, not for the sake of my teachers, but I need to do this for myself and admit there really is a law, and I want to have the best relationship with Him, and that is what Allah said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. He only created us to worship Him alone without any partner. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.